Morning. Happy Saturday morning. Welcome back to Woodyard. My name's Bill. It's Pirate Solutions Forestry. We got a big log on the mill today. If you watched my video yesterday on service in the mill, you kind of got the gist of it, but I'll go over the gist of it here. This is where I left it off last night. I actually took a piece off the top of it. You can see it's a monster. It's a max log for this mill. And what I'm doing right now is trying to get myself set up. So the story with this log is that I have a customer who needs a 28-inch wide slab, 2 inches thick. Or at least that's what he wants. And he needs like a 4-foot section and a 4-foot section and a 3-foot section. The 1 4-foot section needs to be 28 inches minimum wide, which this log will cover in spades. The other two he's going to do some funky stuff with. So they might get cut up and so on and so forth. But the goal here is to get a 28-inch wide minimum 2-inch thick slab somewhere out of the middle of this big ass log. I also have an order for the government that wants 22 by 12s, 12 feet long. And that kind of works into this log too, because if I do this right, I'm going to get a bunch of the government's order out of this log too. So what I'm looking for right now is when you're dealing with a big log like this, first of all, these mills are not designed to do stuff like this. This is above and beyond their pay grade. I have a Norwood HD36 version 2, and we're asking a lot of the mill to mill this kind of log. It will handle, power-wise, it'll handle it. But this is stretching it all the way out, most of the way out this way, most of the way out this way, putting a lot of pressure on the band and so on and so forth. So I need to try to get this broken down. My goal today is to get his 2-inch slab out of here and make sure that all the wood I take off this can be edged off into 2 by 12s. So what I'm going to do this morning is I need to take one more slab, I believe, off this side. I could flip it right now, but it's always a good idea when you're dealing with a log this big to take off as much of it as you can before you flip it over. Now, could I mill it all right here? You can. But the problem is that when it's round like this on the bottom, it's tippy, it's tough to hold on to, and it's tough to reposition. When you get a flat side on it, down on the bunks, it's way easier to push it around, and it's completely stable. You don't even need to dog it down because with something this big. And a lot of times you can't, because they're out so far that you can't even use these dogs. They'll interfere with the track, or you can't even get them open to clamp it on. One I did last week, I had to take these out. I had to pull the pins on the bottom and pull them out so they weren't in the way. When I flipped it over, they were actually under the log and holding the log up a little bit, which Norwood, I checked these yesterday with a level because I never thought to check them before. Norwood, you got to get these below. You got to get the top of these, when these are all the way down, below these bunks. That's a dumb design. I realize that we're doing things with your mills that maybe you didn't think of, or that you say, well, they shouldn't be doing that, so it shouldn't matter. Well, it does matter, because this is what the people out there in the field are doing. So the top of this, when this is all the way down, should be below these bunks, so it doesn't get stuck under this log when I flip it over like it did last week. And there's a possibility I may have to take these out, but I will try to pause the video as much as I can, because this is probably going to turn into a couple of parts. It's Saturday. It's cold out. I'm fighting. There's a storm coming up the coast. I want to get this done, or at least this 2-inch slab out of here today, and this thing cubed up into some slabs that I can edge off and cants that I can deal with. So I'm going to do some trimming on this log while I have it like this before I flip it over. I'm also, before I put my band on, I'm going to pull out my guide maximum, and I'm going to run it back and forth across the log and just see what my clearance issues look like. You want to know your clearance issues before you get all the way down into this log and have a problem down here a foot from the end and have to fight your way through the last little bit of the cut, which is why a lot of the time I like to put on max logs like this, I like to put the fat end towards the saw head. I didn't do it in this case, but I do like to do that because if I run into a problem, I want to run into it down there before, because usually your clearance problems are on your fat side and then stuff that's sticking out that you can deal with. The stuff that's sticking out, you want to cut it while it's up like this. So I want to trim as much off this if they're going to interfere, and even if they might not, because it'll help it roll. In this case, this one isn't going to matter because it's in between bunks, but this one will. When I go to roll this one's going to be on the bunk. I'll be rolling this with a strap on the Bobcat. I probably won't video that just because it takes too much time. So whenever I can pause, I will. Right now, I'm going to run a metal detector across this thing a little bit. Try to stay away from these. Maybe move them if I can when I get close, because it will pick them up. And I take it back. I'm going to metal detect it after I flip it over. What I want to do right now is get set up to take this one next slab off here, because what I need is at, let's just say 12'6", I need to make sure that I'm at least a 2x12. So 12'6" is right here, and I have a 2x12 here. So this next cut, I can make a 2-inch thick cut and still get a 2x12 out of that slab. I don't need 1-bys on this, and this log's got some dirt in it. It's pretty old, so I don't want to be whooping the band just to take jacket cuts off this thing. So I'm going to take a 2-inch thick slab. I'm going to pull that off, and then I'm going to flip it over. And like I said, with the flat side down, it makes it way easier to position the log. I can just push it around with the Bobcat. It's not rolly, and it's way easier to deal with. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to run my saw head up and pull out my, and just so you guys know, my saw head covers aren't all strapped down right now. I left some of the straps off just because I knew I was going to be putting a band on it first thing. So I'm kind of all the way over. I'm going to run this up. I can take a kind of a quick measurement. So I just want to make sure that I'm clear at 2 inches down. So this is about 24 inches high right now at the top. So I'm going to kind of come to 22, and I'm going to try to run my guides over this log. See if I'm going to hit anywhere. Most likely I'm going to hit right here at the beginning. See what I got to take off. So let's just come. Hose is sitting there. So right there I'm clear. So I can make this cut. I guess the moral of the story there. All right, so for the first cut, I have no problem being clear. It actually appears that if I position this log right, I'm going to be clear most of the way. My width on this end So I'm going to be fat down here. If I'm going to do some trimming, I'm going to do it now. So this is wider than my saw head will cut. This is 33 wide right here. So I want to trim off. This side's pretty straight. I'm going to want to trim here, and this side flares out. I'm going to want to take a good trim here. A good trim off this side before I cut it. Before I flip it, because that can become a problem once you flip it. All this stuff gets closer to the deck and there's more crap in your way. So I am going to pause you guys for a minute. I'm going to start warming up the saws. I'll probably use them both here because I'm going to use the little saw to trim the limbs and use the big saw to trim the butt. So I'm just going to pause you a minute. All right, it's going to be, I don't know how the noise cancel is going to do. It's going to be loud for a second here, but I'll get you over here. I'm going to trim the butt first, and I'm going to run the 372 to do that. I do got a little bit of chain sag in the 372, I realize that, but I'm just to make this trim cut, I'm not gonna tighten it up right now. I always want to feather the throttle so you don't drop out of the cut and fall down and hit the mill. You just check the width. So I'm showing 30 wide. I think I fit 30 wide. I think the mill's supposed to cut 31. Let me just pull the guides up. I'm going to measure between the guides right now. It's always the best way to do it. Now I can gain a little bit by taking off this screw right here. This is kind of max. Let's see where we're at. Yeah, I'm 31 and a half, so it will fit right now. That's good. So we get 1.5 inch clearance on the fat end, so I can go ahead and cut it right out. Like I said, once I flip that over, it's a lot easier when you get that flat side down to be able to position the log. If you're bumping into it, you can shove it over a little bit. You know, you got clearance to do that. I'm going to take the little saw and just trim these limbs off. I could do it with the big saw, but you're more likely with a heavy saw to drop down and smash the mill with it when you're doing it. Try not to undrog it so it doesn't roll. Like I said, when we feather that throttle, that's just so I don't fall out, hit the mill. All right, so I think I'm all trimmed up good. Got a whole chip pile of noodles in the bottom of the 372. Goes out of there. Just gonna throw these back in the truck real quick, so they're off my workbench, at least here on the tailgate. So I got a couple new bands. Well, not new bands, a couple of resharp bands. Let's go ahead and let's wand this thing a little bit. Get you back here. I'm just going to go ahead and just check it with the metal detector quick. This is Harbor Freight metal detector. Just going to try it. That's picking that up. As I get down close to the mill, it'll pick up the mill. So I'm just making sure that in my 2-inch cut, I got nothing. Some of these big old logs, is chances that it had something in it at one point in time is pretty high. And I'm picking up the mill there. Let me just pull the mill out of the way. I'll just check this area here. I'm picking up the log dog there. I think I'm picking up the log dog there too. Picking up the mill here. If I move the mill, you'll see it won't beep there. Oh, I'm hitting on something. Oh, I know what I'm hitting on. I'm hitting on that. All right, so I think I'm good enough here to make this 2-inch cut. I'm going to pause you again for a second, put a band on, get all my fluids ready, and get ready to make this cut. I'll bring you back when we make the cut. This will be a resharp band. These are ones that I've sharpened and set. I have noticed, and I'm interested to run this because I have noticed that because of the radius on my rock on the face side, I'm starting to lose some of my my rake angle. And I'm going to have to address that, but I'm interested to see how they cut. So I'm going to pause you, and we'll put a band on. We'll get her all ready to go, and the next time you come back, we'll be ready to take a 2-inch slab off this. All right, we're ready to rock and roll. Let's just roll through. I'm going to take a 2-inch slab off the top. We'll see how this band cuts. It's a resharp band. I know that the saw head's going to mess with the noise canceling, so So I'm not really sure why I get that high-pitched whine, intermittent whine when it's going through. I think it has something to do with the burr on the band from when I was when I sharpened it. We're going to pull this slab off. We'll take a look at it, see how good the band cut. I can tell that I'm definitely losing some of my set. Oh. Not my set, my rake angle. You know, it didn't dig through like a normal one. So in other words, my rake angle is probably closer to like, I don't know, 5 degrees or something like that instead of 7. I want to kind of grab this somewhere where it's not going to make a difference. I'm going to put this up on the sawhorses here. I'll probably keep my picaroon over here because it's going to be, I'm going to try to get this up on the sawhorses. So that when I have to put them back on to edge them, I'm not picking them up off the ground. Yeah, I got some really weird, oh, it's just sawdust mostly. I'll take a look and see. I got a little bit of weird scalloping in that cut. Not exactly sure why. Oh, almost had it. Come on, bitch. Come on. Just kind of scoot around. Pick this side up. For some reason it's grabbing on the sawhorse here. This will give me something to slide the other slabs up onto. So let me grab my scraper. We'll scrape this off. We'll take a look at the cut. And you guys will end up going back on pause while I flip this log. It's definitely some weird marks on it. I probably will. Oh, it's not. It's just mostly sawdust that I'm seeing. The way that it cleared the sawdust, most of it. Just go down really quick and you see how flat it is. Overall, it cut pretty flat. There's a couple of little undulations in it. It's to be expected on pine like this with a lot of knots. There are some weird scallops in it though. It's probably that noise I was hearing. So what I'll probably do is, I don't like the way that band came out, so probably flip this thing over, take the top off the other side, and I'm probably going to end up switching bands because I'm not completely thrilled with the way it looks. And if I continue with this problem, I will end up putting a brand new band on. I don't know if you can see some of the weird scalloping here. I don't know if it's going to show up good on camera or not. See these lines like this? And there's a possibility that because of the big burr on it from being sharpened that it caused that, but overall it's a big ass pine log. So I know one thing, I don't want to keep cutting like that if that's going to be every cut. And the only way that I'm going to be able to test and see if it's that band is to run the other band I sharpened and see what that one cuts like. So I'm going to pause you guys. I'm going to wrap a strap around it, flip this side over, down. I think I'm going to take my log clamps out for when I do it so that they don't get trapped under the log when I flip it over, which they may. And then we'll kind of get it repositioned. We'll take the, when we come back, we'll take the top off the other side, do some measurements, see how far we got to go. Our job is going to be to go down. We want to box the pith into a 2-inch board. So 1 inch above the pith, 1 inch below the pith, and then a 2-inch slab for this customer, and then 2-inch flitch cuts all the way up. So I'm going to cut down till I get the customer slab out, and then probably call it a day. We'll see. That'll probably go all the way into part 2, but for right now, I want to get it flipped over, and then I'll bring you back. All right, welcome back. So we got it flipped over, and I shoved over the far end a little bit. That's why the Bobcat's sitting there. Move that log stop over. I'll give you a look down the log. I think we're ready to go to at least start taking it apart. It looks like I'm not exactly sure yet, but I may have a little bit of clearance issue right on there. I want to get down in the log and more, but yeah, it's pretty close. We're going to find out. It actually looks pretty centered. When I look down this side, if I look at that straight edge versus my bunk, and I look at that straight edge versus my bunk, it looks pretty centered, so we might be okay. So we'll take some measurements, we'll take the top off it, and we're going to make a determination whether we're going to change out this band. I'm going to keep you on this side for the shot so you can see the sawdust flinging out, and they'll be pretty slow passes. I did not like the way that band cut on that first pass, so I don't want to get it real wavy. Maybe once the burr wipes off that band, it'll get better. I'm not sure, but we'll try it out. So we'll take some measurements quick and we'll go to cutting. So I know that I am 23 high on this end right now, and I don't want to waste any cuts. So I'm like 20 high in the middle right here. I'm like 20 high here. This end is 22. So I think I don't have any major dirt issues right now. I think I'm going to try to come down to like 19. I don't see any major dirt issues. I think I'm going to try to come down to like 19. That could be 21. Maybe I'll try to take it at 20. We'll see what happens, because I really think this band's going to have to get changed out. So let's try it at 20. See what that cleans up like. I'm trying not to waste any cuts here. Hopefully I don't run out of fuel. Hopefully you guys can see that that looks like a good cut. We'll try it there. Hopefully you can see that it's way easier to position the log now. OOF, out of fuel. I'll pause you guys quick while I fuel up so you don't have to watch that. All right, we'll kick in the nuts. We got fuel. Jenny and Kate are out there. Hi, honey. Hi. You want to go on camera? You can go on camera. Let's see how that cut came out. It came out flat. This band's cutting a little weird. It's a resharpen. It's not cutting great. So it's cutting okay. It's just making a weird noise. So where am I? I'm at 20. See if we're going to be able to get a 2x12 out of this piece. It's plenty big enough down here. Cleared the sawdust good. It's like no sawdust on the log. So I got 12 there. Got 12 there. I only got 11 there. What is that versus the length? 10 foot, yeah, that's right in the 12 footer. It just narrows down to be a little bit of wane on this piece right here. It's not very much though. It's just a teeny bit of wane, but the problem is that I'd have to edge this thing perfect. I would have to edge this thing perfect to get to split these uprights. I think it's better if I skim another inch off this, then I can go to 2s. I'm going to try one more cut with that band. I'm not thrilled with the way it's cutting. Overall, it looks pretty flat. I don't feel any big waves in it. Try one more cut. I'm going to come down an inch. So I was at 20. I had to come down to 18 7/8, take a 1 inch cut off. Actually felt like it cut better on that pass. Like I said, maybe the burr's wearing off. It looks better too. It just felt better. Who do I want this thing? When we go to edging, we'll edge this off too. I'll put it on top of the other one over here, right next to it. Kate, do you know what time it is? 11:15? 18, okay. Oh. Yeah, it actually cut a lot better on that pass. A lot better, not just a little better, a lot better. I think, like I said, I think it's the burr from sharpening that was making all the noise. So I'm going to drop down 2 inches, take a 2-inch. See how far I got to go to get to the fat wood. So it's going to be somewhere in here. This 30. That's probably, it's probably 2 cuts-ish. So let's take a 2. We'll take a look at the cut again. So I was at 19 7/8. I had to come down to 17 3/4. No, sorry. I was at 20, then I went to 18 7/8. I got to come down to 16 3/4. Let's try it. Contact. So I'm at 16 3/4. The next one's going to be at 14 5/8. I'll take some measurements after we pull the slab off. See what the cut quality looks like. I don't want to give them a crappy cut. What did I say? 16 5/8. Whoa. Slabs are getting heavy. Slabs are getting heavy. If you're wondering why I'm not just putting them onto the Bobcat, Reason being is I could need the Bobcat to pull stuff off. Why did I leave my picaroon over there? That's definitely getting edged off there. Don't want that to fall off. I think I can come over with the Bobcat and pick these out of here when I'm ready to edge them, dump them on the mill with the Bobcat. But picking these up off the ground sucks. It doesn't help having these greasy, slippery slab cuts on the ground over here either. Okay, let's take some measurements and look at cut quality. Still looks pretty flat. Cut quality's okay. See how wide we are. If we're getting close to his need. Still not wide enough. 24, 22 and a half. Sucks I can't get two 2x12s out of this either. Pretty damn close though. Might end up trying to get two 2x12s out. Just leave a little wane on the bottom one. Problem is I gotta leave wane on both of them. 21, 22 and a half. What's this here? 20, 22. So we gotta come down at least one more. The next slab down is probably going to be close to big enough for this guy. Maybe one more. So let's do another two. See how the band does again. Just want to run my hand down it, see if I feel any waves. There's one little wave right here. Looks pretty good though. Still think I'm going to change that band out. I'm going to make one more and then change the band to my other band that I sharpened. See if it cuts the same. And if it does, I'm going to put a brand new band on for the next cut. So let's take one more 2-inch out of here. I don't know where it was, but so is that 16 3/4. So I got to go to 14 5/8. 14 5/8. Double check that. Of course I don't have my tape measure on me, right? The mill tape measure that never leaves the mill. Yep, it's exactly 2 inches. So let's go ahead and rip this one off. Well, the good part is that I got the log perfectly centered. That's good. I'm just clearing on this side over here. These are only getting heavier now. Buried my picaroon. Hopefully you guys can see me. Struggle with these things. That over there. That one kind of, that cut was kind of weird. It kind of was making a bunch of chatter, and then it kind of quieted down a little bit, and then it went back to chatter, and I could see the marks in the wood. Oh, I should throw that up a little bit more on there. Probably gonna end up doing a part 2 on this video. I'll check the time on the video really quick, but I'll probably do a part 2. We'll take some measurements on this one. This one's looking wide. It's my exercise for the week. All right, let's take some measurements on this one. I'll get you guys over here. Show you what I'm talking about with the cut. So you can see that weird scalloping in it. Overall, it's coming out pretty flat. I don't know the best way to show you guys. It's probably like this. A little more. Maybe have my coffee. So it's milling pretty flat. There's no big waves in it. It's just getting that weird scallop pattern there. It's definitely from the band. There's, I think, one little hump right here. Not much at all. Overall, it cut pretty flat, but you can see where it got some harmonics in it here. Actually, I can feel some humps in this one. Got some harmonics here where it was doing a little bit of this. So I am going to switch the band out and try the other band, but let's get some measurements on this one. This is not going to be his slab. I'm sure of that. It's going to be the next one. So I'm still at like 20, 23 and a half, 23, 24. Actually, this is going to work for two 2x12s. 24, 24 and a half, 25, almost 27, and it's 29 and a quarter down here. So how much more taper do I have to this log? I got at least 1, 2. It's going to be getting bigger for 2 more slabs. And then stay big for a couple of slabs. So I probably have 3 slabs to cut before I have to worry about it getting small. or starting to lose size. I am going to lose my ability. I'm going to take, right now I'm at 14 3/4 high. So when I take one more slab off this, I am going to lose my ability to have a 12-inch wide cant. So I'm going to swap the band right now. Damn it. Yeah, there's some pretty good waves. There's a few pretty decent waves in that, but this part down here, this wide section where he only needs the 4-footer, is really flat. Really super, super flat. There's some waves in the middle there. But we're going to swap the band out. Make one more cut. Hopefully the top of the next cut is wide enough for him. It's going to increase at least, it's probably 2 inches. So I'm going to pause you guys while I swap the bands. Bring it down here, swap the bands. Actually, you can see, I think, in the video right through there where there's a couple of waves in it. So I'm going to hit pause and I'll be back. All right, so I threw a brand new Silvertip Turbo 7 on it. It's a Woodmiser Silvertip Turbo 7. And we're going to make a cut with that. And I did find out why those were giving me a problem. They have no rake angle on them. When I ground them the other day, I think what's happening is that the side of my wheel, because I ground so many, that the side of my wheel, my grinding rock is curving in. So even when it's set over at the angle, because it's curving in, it ground them at 0. I checked it with a square. There's no rake angle on them at all. So those are like 0-degree blades, and it's perfectly straight up and down. That's got to be fixed. So let's crank one out with this, and we're going to be putting 7 degrees through it this time. We'll see what happens. So I was at 14. Huh. Let me grab my tape. It's kind of weird. So I was at 14 and something. I think this. Oh yeah, I was at what, 14 5/8. What did this cut out at? Wow, 14 5/8. Huh. That's good. So it looks like some of my dimensional issues have been fixed by this. 14 5/8. Exactly. So that's good. That means that we fixed my tape problem. So we're going to come down to 12. Oh, let me just double check that's right. Pretty sure. Yeah, I was at 14 5/8. So it's like right there. Yep. So we're going to come down to 12 1/2. And let's pray to God that this slab works at 28 inches. Because if it does, and basically that means I can get cants out of what's left for the 2x12s, and I don't have to edge everything out. Some weird banging noise. Alright, let's see what happens. That was at 12 and a half. Let's hope this slab's big enough. That way, if the slab's big enough, I can get a 12-inch cant out of it. What's left over. Maybe even two of them. It's going to be close, but I can get 12-inch. I can still get a 12-inch cant like this. Once I get his slab, I can still roll it on the side and get 12 inches like this and cut them out. So I might be thinking ahead of myself a little bit. That band, it definitely pushed through it easier. I almost couldn't feel any pressure at all. Cut way smoother. There's a little bit of chatter in it, but it looks like it cut way smoother. That was definitely the problem, was the rake angle being at 0. So if you ever wonder what it would be like to cut with a 0-degree band, well, you saw it. So it's kind of what we do on this channel. It's going to get loud for a second. I got to blow some sawdust off here. And what would it be like with a 0-degree band? Well, Bill will show you. So the bottom of this band, or the width of the cut right now, is going to be a carbon copy onto the bottom of the slab that I'm pulling off. I still do have some growth. I'm starting to lose the taper here. Damn it, I did that again. I'm just messing up, guys. I'm sorry. I got to get the slab over more. I don't know why. Climb around on the ground. Got to get the slab over more. That. Climb around on the ground again. It was a good data point for me, because usually when I'm sharpening, I have my angle finder right there and I'm constantly checking my rake angle. And this time I was just blasting through bands and I didn't. Oh, I don't know. It's like flipping tires at the gym. Definitely going to be putting these back on with a Bobcat. All right, so let's check our width and see what we're looking at. So, yeah, I know you can't see me, but I'm going to start losing taper from here down, which isn't going to matter for this customer because he only needs really this half of the log. Fuck. It would be better if this piece works, or the piece I just took off. It would be better for me. All right, so I got 29 and a half, 28 and a half, 27, 26 and a half, and I still got growth. I got to cut one more. 26. It's like 25 and 3/4. I still have growth on the next one. So he's going to get us 28 for the first 4 feet that he needs. Let's see, his 4 feet here. Let's just go like 4.6. It's at 27. I have a little growth and a little growth. So it's going to be like just big enough. I have enough room on this to take one more. I'm going to cut one more. So actually give him a fairly clean slab on both sides. Yeah, so more than 3 there. So I can take one more. 26 and a half. It's 27 here from that little bump out, and the short part's 25 and a half, and then it kind of tapers down. It's big enough for two 2x12s, so that's good. But if I take another slab, I lose my 12-inch cant one way. Not both ways, one way. So that kind of stinks. So I got almost, well, it's 30 right here. It's 30 and a quarter, 29, 28 and a quarter, 27 and a quarter, 26 and 3/4. Man, it's really close. I am really, really hosing myself if I take this next piece off. I'm really hosing myself if I take this next piece off. Right now I'm at 12. Damn it. I'm at 12 and a half. Right? Cut out perfectly dimensionally. Oh man, that's a big decision right here. Because right now, guys, I can flip this log on its side and I can cut 2x12s out of the whole thing. And I can get, well, let's just say 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I can almost get the whole order. I can almost get the whole 2x12 order if I leave it just like this. So, and I'm giving them the shittiest slab too. Well, it's smooth on the bottom. I gotta really, really measure this out. Sorry that this doesn't make for good video, but this is a big decision. Because my life gets way easier if I don't have to take another slab off here. So let's go 4 feet. He needs 28 at 4 feet ish. Could be a little smaller. I got 27 at 4 feet. You know what? I think I'm going to leave it because of what it does to me if I don't. I think that's his slab right there. I'll just tell him that that's the max slab because I'm not gaining very much. And I screw myself if I do it. Absolutely screw myself. I mean, I lose a huge part of the order. There's what? There's like 13 2x4s in this. There's 12 there. So there's 12 2x12s. There's 12 2x12s in this. I need 20. And then take his slab out. If I can get 2, that's 13, 14, 15, at least 16 out of the whole order. And then I only got to cut 4 out of one other log. As a matter of fact, I can go around and find some 2-inch flitch cuts that I have on the ground over there that I could cut 2x12s out of. I probably don't even have to cut another log just by rolling this on its side and milling it out. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to wonder if I could flip this over. And I'm going to shoot him a text. And I'm going to tell him that it's just over 27 at 4 feet. Is that good enough? It doesn't matter if it's good enough because I'm not gaining enough by taking one more. And I'm starting to lose taper everywhere else. I'm kind of, I got a little bit of room. I'm not gaining anything on this side. I don't have any real taper here. gaining a teeny bit and then losing it down there. And on this side, if I cut 2 inches down, I'm probably gaining 3/4. All right, I think that's going to do it for part one here. I'm going to go grab some lunch. I'll give you a look at the finish on the slab with that Silvertip Turbo 7. Cut way smoother. There's one little chatter mark right here, but it cut way smoother. Can't tell, is that a dip there? There's a little dip right here, even with a brand new band, where that knot goes out over there. But overall, it cut really nice. I know there's sawdust all over this, but I think that is the piece. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. When you look down the side, I don't have much taper there to grow. And you can see my foot. I don't know if you can see that little red mark out there at 4 feet. It's not growing very much there. Then on this side, it's growing a little bit, not very much. I don't think it's going to make any difference. I think this is just it. Because if I cut that one more slab out of this, I screw myself for 2x12s. Then I got to edge the whole thing. And the only bonus part is that I'd get 2 out of this one. But then I would have to really slab the whole thing all the way down and then edge off 2x12s out of the whole thing. This way, I can just flip this log up and mill it down at 2 inches and cut 2x12s because I'm at 12.5. So I think that's it. And yeah, he gets a nice monster piece. I'll just tell him that was Max. You can kind of see it. So if you look down the side here, you can kind of see this still, the taper's not growing very much. It was growing a lot on this one, but now we're past that. Looking down that log, we're really past that where the taper's growing. So hope you enjoyed a little Saturday morning Max milling. That's a big honking piece of wood right there, huh? And yeah, I will, when I come back from lunch, I'm going to flip that on its side. I'll shoot another video too. And we'll mill a straight edge on it. We'll probably flip it. I don't know. We'll flip it on its side. We'll probably have to shim up one end so we can kind of center the pith this way or this way, so we can make a fairly flat cut across the top, losing as little as we possibly can, and then we'll flip it over and then just mill it out at 2 inches, get the max amount of 2x12s out of it. And we'll do some arithmetic, because if they don't need to be 2 inches thick, that's okay, I think. Well, I kind of already committed to 2 inches thick, so maybe that's not okay. If we can make a small adjustment, maybe, but they're going to get 2x12s out of all these slab cuts, and we don't want them to be different. So that's going to be what it is. And then, like I said, I do have at least 2 slab cuts on the ground over there on the bottom. I don't know if they're 12 foot long. I have to check. They look 12 feet long. That I could take 2x12s out of 2, hopefully to finish out this order. And got to edge all these off except for the top one that's becoming his slab. So, yeah, that's it. And I'll see you guys after lunch in a while. It's Pyro Solutions.